Hello and welcome to Black Belt Nutrition. Today we're going to look at a study where the participants are doing yogi breathing technique to see if that has any impact on running performance. And I need to disclaim right away that my conclusion of this study is quite the opposite compared to what the author of this study are claiming in the abstract. So what did they do? They did let a number of participants that all were recreational runners do an intervention where half of them did various type of yoga breathing techniques, and they did this quite frequently, 6 times a week, I think half an hour. They were also divided, so they did different type of breathing techniques. They were no different among the groups that did the breathing techniques. But there were some outcomes here that I would like to highlight, because the authors did 2 tests that they published at least, where people were running on the treadmill on 40% of their perceived maximum exhaustion and 70%. And they did this pre and post the intervention. So this means that they graded it from 1 to 10, but I just say %, and then they were going to repeat it again, trying to run at 40% of the maximum and 70% at the maximum. And the authors here concluded that the second time around, after doing these yoga breathing techniques, they were running faster, both at 40% of perceived exhaustion rate and 70%, which indeed is true. They did run faster. And then when they conclude this, they write something about how yoga breathing technique possibility influence the running velocity regulation during self-selected running pace. I have seen many YouTubers interpret this as breathing techniques improve your running performance, improve your cardiovascular fitness, improve your VO2 max. But this study does not show that at all. But I can understand it's easy to make that interpretation if you're not used to reading studies. So here are the outcomes of the pre and post group. You have this PRP4 here, that is 40% of the maximum effort, and 7 here is 70%, because it's a 10-grade scale. And as you can see, they did improve. If you look at one of them, both groups improved the running speed, running velocity. Like here, they improved from 202 to 223, and that is how many meters they're running per minute for this 10-minute the test were. They also measured the VO2 max during this running session, and they are using more oxygen for their second running session. But look at the heart rate in both of these groups. Both at the 40%, it went up from 165 to 175, here from 183 to 190. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that when they say they run on 70% of the max and the heart rate is 190, they're either lying or just deceiving themselves, the placebo effect. Because a heart rate of 190 is close to maximum for most people, or very close. It's like 95% effort or more. But they happen to say that it's 70%. So what that have happened when they did all this breathing technique is, yeah, they run faster, but they also exhaust themselves to the max, basically. The heart rate is peaking. They hit the roof. So there's no 30% left here that they can do. They can't raise the heart rate to 250 or something. So what has happened is basically simply that they just imagine that it's easy to run. But the physiological parameters show otherwise. And if you look then at the control, what happened with them, they were also running slightly faster, but it was not statistically significant. And also the VO2 consumption increased slightly, which is natural when you run faster, unless you suddenly have a better run on economy. Their heart rate are the same or even slightly less. So this control group, they were running somewhat faster, using somewhat more oxygen to slightly less heart rate. That is an improvement in VO2 max. That is an improvement of cardiovascular fitness. Now we don't have the raw data, so I cannot do a statistical test, a t-test or something, to see if these changes are statistical or not. But there's at least a tendency for improvement. And all groups were running, by the way. All groups were training. It's just that this group only did running, the other group did running plus yoga breathing. And when they run the second time around, they run faster because they think they're Supermans. But the heart rate it hits the roof, 190 beats per minute. They can't run any faster than that. Where this other group is run at 180, so still fast, but they still have a little bit time to go. And what bothered me about this study is that they write the conclusion as if they have improved the cardiovascular fitness or VO2 max, which the study did not show. But not only that, they did measure the VO2 max when the study started, but they did not measure it, or at least not report it, after the study. So I know I'm not an academic researcher. I have a master's degree in biochemistry, I have a bachelor's degree in applied statistics, studied some other things also, but my training is in the industry. And if I went to my manager when I was a pharmaceutical developer and said, I have this pill that I think will improve cardiovascular fitness, and I didn't do a VO2 max test pre and post, I would have gotten fired for this report. If the management read this hastily and saw, oh, this is a promising drug, promising pill or supplement, let's put money in that based on this, we could get fired. It's like the weight loss drug without weighing the patient pre and post. Ask her, do you feel light? Yeah, I think I'm a little bit lighter. Okay, let's put 100 million into that drug. It might work. They felt lighter. These guys felt they could run faster, but in fact, if anything, those breathing techniques might even have impaired their running, actually the VO2 max, because both groups are training and one group seems to have improved, and the other group have not improved or maybe decreased even. It's difficult to say since they didn't publish, because I'm pretty sure they must have measured them. I can't imagine you measure VO2 max and pre and then don't do it post, because you have the equipment. It's like measuring people's weight pre an intervention, then you don't publish the post intervention, but you say that some other markers indicating they might have lost weight were good, so which do incredibly also happens sometimes. So I must think this through the lens of my training and my years as a commercial researcher. So you cannot do studies like this and get away with it, because the studies needs to be quite conclusive. They will put the money where you say the results are. So if you're wrong, the company will lose money and maybe even go bankrupt. Companies do bankrupt if they bet on the wrong horse. They can only afford to bet on a few horses every year. Like 100 candidates of drugs or pharmaceuticals or molecules, whatever, and you can only afford to bet on a few of them. So you better bet on the right one or you're gone. And I know academic research is different, because you always leave things, the door open. We need more research, it's not conclusive, because then you get more funding. But in my mind, there's a limit to how stupid you can be. And this for me is, it's just too much. So I'm not saying yoga breathing are bad for everything in the world. I'm just saying that they do not, there's no evidence whatsoever they improve your VO2 max or anything like that. Okay, so that was my little bit small rant here today, but I hope you liked it, and I will show you some stuff that do work instead. Okay, so sign up, subscribe and comment, and see you soon again. Thank you for watching.